Now, everyone, it's time to spread a bit of movie cheer. Welcome to the Movie Cheer Podcast, the show for movie fans. I'm your host, AP, aka Mr. Movie Cheer, and on today's edition of the Movie Cheer Pod, I will be discussing the 1987 Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, The Running Man. That is correct, The Running Man. So that'll be today's headline topic. I'll be doing a big deep dive on that movie. If you've never watched it before, there will be plenty of spoilers in this, so if you've not watched that movie, maybe come back to watch this at a later date of this episode. But that is going to be today's headline topic. But before I get into today's headline topic of the show, I like to start the show off with a segment called Not So Worthy Blockbuster Housekeeping. This is the part of the show where I discuss what's going on with the channel, with the Movie Cheer Town community, and it's just a general easing in chit-chat for the rest of the show. So, first of all, last week, Halloween show last week, discussing, which movies was it? It was the Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, and I forget what the other one was now. I honestly can't think what it was, the other movie. But it wasn't myself, doing the show, so that's why I can't remember. Mean Cheer, the Ghoulish Mean Cheer was hosting. Ghoulish Mean Cheer is a resident of Movie Cheer Town. He's kind of the Grinch of Movie Cheer Town, the Ghoulish Mean Cheer. But he hosted the show last week. I think he done a really decent job as well. I thought it was a fun show with Mean Cheer, and you know what? His soul may have not been saved doing the show, but I think, he's more than welcome to come onto the show again, Mean Cheer. Maybe around Christmas time we'll have Mean Cheer on again for some more ghoulish, mean activities on the podcast. But yeah, big thanks to everyone who checked out that show last week and got involved in the comments as well. Always love to see the Movie Cheer Town community getting in the comments, discussing movies over on any video, especially on Halloween. It was really cool. Latest video this past week on the channel, it is the 10 out of 10 movies in my collection part 3. I've done a few of these earlier on this year, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do a few more sequels to these videos. Let's do some more parts. So I've got that part 3 coming out, that came out this past week. There will be a part 4 coming out at some point in maybe the next month or two as well. That's in the bag. So that's another one, and that was a good video to do, and it was just good looking through the collection and really pinpointing movies that are like 10 out of 10 movies. I love doing that. I think it's really enjoyable. Few changes to the pod, to the things going around the pod, and this is why I like to throw it in this segment of the show. So this past week, every Wednesday, I always say there's a new blog post on the website, the moviecheerpodcast.com, and I've been doing that for the best part, well, pretty much all this year. Unless I'm on a break, when I'm taking like a 2-3 week break, I pause everything. I pause it all. But when I'm back, generally, I do a blog post every single week. And I must say, I'll be totally honest, and I like to be 100% transparent here. It's finding the time to do it. And I've decided for now to take it to like every 2 weeks. Do a blog post every 2 weeks on a particular movie or a topic, and see how I go with that, and move forward from that, and maybe have to adjust some things and stuff like that. But yeah, it's just finding the time with making the videos as well, and then just other stuff. Got to mow the lawn of Movie Cheer Town. The lawn needs mowing, and the local cinema needs painting outside. It's a lot of jobs in Movie Cheer Town to do. So yeah, that is just for now. It's going to go bi-weekly now. Every 2 weeks there'll be a blog post. I may change it around. I may go every 3 weeks. I may go back to every week. Who knows? But for now, I just want to keep you all updated and think it's not just being forgotten. The blog, the website, it's a great another avenue of the Movie Cheer Town community that I think is, you're looking for a bit more content other than video content, you've got it there, and that's what I love about that website. So that is the website, and just a bit of final bit of not so worthy Blockbuster housekeeping for this week. Patreon. This past week's Patreon video was the Alphabet movie collection, Letter E. I've been doing the alphabet of movies in the collection and picking out 6 movies each time. I did the letter E this past week. If you are not aware of Patreon, the minimum is $1, and that you get all the Movie Cheer vault of bonus podcasts, bonus videos. And I always say it's extra content if you want to get a bit more extra Movie Cheer content. And I also say as well, if you want to just do it for 1 month, binge all the content and then cancel it. Cancel it anytime. I don't mind if people come to the Patreon community and then go away. It doesn't bother me at all. I'm never offended. But it's there if you want a bit of extra Movie Cheer content. That is it for Not So Worthy Blockbuster Housekeeping for this week. Let's move on to today's headline topic. The Movie Cheer Podcast presents the headline topic for the episode.
Remember to spread a bit of
headline topic. Headline topic.
Remember to spread a bit of movie cheer.
So today's headline topic, The Running Man, the 1987 Arnold Schwarzenegger movie, The Running Man. I'm going to do a big deep dive on this movie. So like I said, if you've never watched it before, maybe come back to this episode at a later point. But yeah, I'm going to be spoilers and let's just get into it. So let's talk about the movie. What is the movie about? First of all, I was thinking, how do you describe it? I think for me, this is the way I describe it, is an action science fiction, sort of like set in a dystopian future, this movie. Basically, the plot of The Running Man is the world has lost like all its resources, and in the US, it's become like a crime sort of country where everything is run by police state, and basically all resources are running low, and the world is the United States is just like running low on all resources, and it's becoming like an absolute mess of a country. Just like, you know, people just getting up to trouble. There's rioting and stuff like this, and basically, as I said, the police basically the US is split up into segments and sectors. And the police run the TV stations in the US, and TV is kind of like the big thing there. And I think with this being a 1980s movie with like quiz shows and like 80s being like the real like a big boom in television, you get like this vibe. And The Running Man is basically the name. The Running Man is a TV show set in this world. So the police run the TV stations, and they obviously run what is advertised. And this Running Man TV show is this highly violent, sadistic TV show, basically hosted by this guy called Damon Killian, who is actually played by a TV host, an American TV host called Richard Dawson. Apparently, he was host of Family Feud in the US. I'll be honest, it's not a name I'm aware of, but maybe if you're in the US, you probably know that name more so. So you got him as this host of these games, and basically in the games they have. It reminds me of the Chase over in the UK. You got the chasers, and then you got the contestants. So the equivalent to the chasers in the Chase is a British game show. Basically, you have these ones called stalkers who have to stalk the runners. The runners are the contestants, and the runners are usually like ex-convicts and put in there, and basically it's like a fight till the death. They got to like beat the stalkers. Basically, no one ever really beats the stalkers. The stalkers end up killing all the runners, and that's the way it goes on this game show. So where does Arnold come in? So it starts off the movie really that he is a member of the police force, and basically he's in a helicopter at the start with a bunch of other guys in a helicopter, and he gets a message about some rioting down below, and he is told over the radio to like basically kill all of the rioters, shoot at them, and he refuses. And you see this footage where he refuses, and then basically they come through on the radio again, say Arnold's character is called Ben Richards. And they say basically reprimand him because he refuses the order to kill innocent people. And then they knock him out and they put him in like this detainment unit then. And this is where basically he meets up with these 2 other guys who become his sort of allies throughout this story. they break out of this detainment unit, and then they go on the travels and they split off and hope to have a better life. And basically, the two other guys get captured, and then he does he goes to his brother's apartment that he thinks is still his brother's apartment. Arnold's character of Ben Richards. And then you see in this apartment this lady there who is played by, let me get the name right, Maria Conchita Alonso. And she plays a character called Amber Mendez, who is like a musician for the TV company. She works as a musician within there. And she now lives in the apartment. His brother has been detained or something basically as well. And Arnold's character of Ben Richards then holds this character of Amber sort of like hostage really to get away, and they go to the airport. She breaks free, and then he gets arrested, and then he gets like kind of put into the Running Man game show to survive. But basically, he does it under false pretense because he says he'll volunteer to do it to save his two mates from doing it instead. And then it turns out they all end up doing it. They double cross him in the end. But we see prior to this as well, it's displayed on TV that like he is called the Butcher of Bakersfield, and they edit the footage and they edit it like he is the one who shoots at the innocent people, and they edit out all the stuff where he's like, oh, there's innocent people down there. So he got framed and convicted of crimes he didn't commit, and basically the girl Amber, she realizes that like something's amiss here, and then they mention like the airport where he was arrested, and then it's shown on TV that he killed loads of people at the airport, and she's like, no, this didn't happen. It was all, that's just obviously a blatant lie. So he goes into this Running Man game show, and I will say this is loosely based on a book by Stephen King under one of his pseudonyms. Basically, it's very loosely based, it's saying online from a lot of sources. I've never read the book, so I can't really comment. So the name of the game then is just like they go into this game show on the street in these different arenas, and they've got these different like stalkers. Like one's like an electrical powered one has a chainsaw, one has like a fire weapon, and they've got to survive this and basically survive these games basically. And we see in the end they kind of like, what happens in the end, they find out a way to jam the network, and they end up uploading the raw footage of the Bakersfield murders and prove that, he's not a murderer, he didn't kill all them innocent people, and that basically the police force, the TV show are all corrupt, and it kind of like starts like this rebellion against the TV show. So that's kind of like the plot, the summary of this movie. Let's get an honest opinion of this movie. What do I think? Look, this is one I've watched for years over, and I'll be honest, it's not one I've watched in maybe a year or so. Maybe it could be longer. I can't really remember the last time I watched it now. And I still enjoy this movie. I've always enjoyed it. I'm a big Arnold fan, a big mark for Arnold. I think it's a fun movie. I think it's just like the idea of this game show, this like, it's so cheesy. I mean, I think it's like the music of it. It's like, think the music on the game show throughout the segments, it reminds me a bit of like Crystal Maze, some of the segments. It's got that vibe of a Crystal Maze for some reason. I don't know why. And it's got like a Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Michael Jackson thriller vibe on a lot of the other music. So it's really 80s influenced music. So I love that. I'm all over that 80s music. I'm a big fan of. And I love the tone of it because it's very, very cheesy. It's not like a serious action. It's an Arnold 80s movie. It's cheesy at times, a lot of one-liners, like cheesy one-liners, and it doesn't go to like super levels of like storytelling. I feel like it's a very basic story. They got to go into this game show, then they got to survive. There's not like tons of big layers of storytelling, but I think it's a fun movie to watch. I think the action scenes are fun. There's, some of the action scenes, like, they're very limited, I will say, in certain areas. I think, like, the stuff with the guy with the chainsaw, like, it's very much like, once they start chasing him down, it's like, kill him dead easily, and they don't really they're not the best of battles. I think there is one or two that really are good battles with the stalkers, but I don't think it's like you can't praise it for being this most exhilarating, exciting action scenes at times. I think they're just like kind of like subpar, but I think for me, what makes it is Arnold. I think he's just, I think he's great in every movie he does. He is just the star for me of the 80s and 90s when it comes to action movies. Him along with Stallone, they both like tying neck and neck. But yeah, I like this movie. I do like the movie. I think it's a fun movie and a fun action sci-fi movie. So now I want to get to some of my favorite moments of this movie. There's a few different moments I want to talk about. First, I want to talk about this. So you have this host, Damon Killian, who is this played by Richard Dawson, this game show host, and he's like the cheesiest, like classic, not cheesiest, the classic game show host. And I imagine he's probably not too dissimilar from what he is like as a TV show host in America. I don't know if this guy's still alive, but if he's still doing it, but I imagine it's very much the same sort of vibe he has. But there's a lady on, so we have like this elderly lady called Agnes. And at the start of the game show, The Running Man, he goes up to this Agnes, and she must be like, she's an audience member, because they have a live audience for this game show. And she is like an audience member who must always be there. She's always involved in the show. And he's going over there, and he's like giving her a kiss, and he's like, "How you doing, Agnes?" He's introducing her, and she's loving it. And you see her a few moments throughout the film. So the first moment, she's like talking about the show. She's looking forward to it, and she's looking forward to seeing the stalkers and stuff like that. And then we see her like later on in the movie where Arnold's character has killed a few of the stalkers, and then he goes up to her, this character of Killian, and he says to Agnes, he's like, "Agnes, who do you think is gonna be who's gonna make the next kill?" So he asks her who's gonna make the next kill, and the audience is meant to say a stalker. It's meant to be like Buzzsaw or Captain Freedom or whoever. And I will say Captain Freedom is played by Jesse the Body Ventura. That was cool as a wrestling fan. That's cool to see a wrestler. He was in another Arnie film as well. He was in Predator. I think a lot of people would recognize his face from that. But yeah, she chooses Ben Richards as the one to make the next kill, and he's like, "Oh no, you want to choose a stalker?" And she's like, no, I want to go with Ben Richards. And I love that. I think it's a really nice moment, because he's obviously got like a really like friendly connection with her, and he's like, obviously this lady's gonna choose a stalker. She's not gonna choose a runner. But then they see that obviously Ben Richards is more. He's a beast. He's taken down the chasers then, the stalkers. So I think that's a good moment. Another moment I like, there's one called Dynamo, one of the stalkers, and he controls electricity, and he looks like a Christmas tree. And I think they make a joke about that in the movie. And he's like light up suits, and there's a scene where he is chasing down Arnold's character, and he's in his car. It looks like a really cheap version of a Batmobile. It looks like the cheapest, like if you were making like a student film of Batman, and you were like, "Oh, we got to build a Batmobile." It looks like it's made out of like cardboard or something. And he's in this, and he's chasing Arnold's character down in the car, and he's running Arnold's character. But what I loved about it is they play Flight of the Valkyries, like this synthesized version, because he's like electric. It's kind of like 80s and stuff like that. And you see the car chasing him. You see he's running. I'm thinking, how slow is this car going? Because Arnold is just running and running. And it's like maybe like 30 seconds this scene. But I just love that scene. I thought it was really good. It was like, especially with the use of the music as well. And then I think the car crashes and flips over then. And I think that does actually lead into another one of my favourite moments here. So the car flips over, and Dynamo is like on his back. He's trapped under the car. And Arnold, I think he grabs like a big like pipe or something, like a really sharp lead pipe. And everyone is watching the TV screen. Everyone's watching the audiences all around the world, not just in the audience in the TV studios. And they all think he's already killed some of the stalkers. Everyone thinks he's going to kill another one. and they see him live on TV, and he basically just refuses to kill him. And this is like a turning point, because you see the audience members then starting to turn on the TV show and the production, because like they think he's like a cold-blooded murderer. They call him the Butcher of Bakersfield. They think this guy is ruthless, and he's just a guy who's just refused to kill a stalker. He's chosen not to, and this is like a big turning point in the movie, and that's what I love. And then at the end, another one of my favorite moments is the big reveal, and they sort of like show back the footage of the running man at the end, and they show the raw footage of the Bakersfield murder, and they just like have this like a video montage of the Running Man TV show saying everyone on the show is a liar, that Gillian is a liar, and they see the raw footage and they realise that, you know, Richards was innocent, he didn't commit them murderers, and he was an innocent man. And they kind of like, they falsify his death. They like use video technology to make it seem like Arnold's character is dead. And then he arrives then and just shoots. He's shooting down all like the security staff in there. And I think that's just an awesome moment with that reveal in there as well. I really enjoyed that. So I want to talk about comparisons before I get to the kind of final verdict of this movie. Comparisons, I'm watching this movie and I've watched it before and I've thought about the same thing. This movie, looking at another movie, what movie does I just revealed it there, haven't I? What movie does The Running Man sound like from maybe the last 10 years? And I just said it, Hunger Games. Hunger Games was a book that was released in the 2000s. I'm not too sure the year exactly, but I'm watching this and I'm thinking, this has taken Hunger Games has taken a lot of influence from The Running Man. And maybe The Running Man took a lot of influence from something else that I don't know of, but I always thought that, and it's not to say, I don't get me wrong, Hunger Games is also got a lot of different elements as well, but the concept of like the TV show, the survival show sort of idea, it's very Hunger Games is very like a similar, they must have been inspired, the writers of Hunger Games, or I think is it a lady, female writer? Maybe, was she like, did she watch The Running Man? She was like, I'm going to write a book that's going to be similar to this, and it's going to be called The Hunger Games. I don't know, I've always thought the comparisons, there's definitely something there between that, and especially with it being known now there is a Stephen King book, you know, such a revered writer, you know, people love his writing, and I imagine the writer of Hunger Games is probably a fan of Stephen King as well, I imagine, because he's such a great writer. But yeah, I think there's definitely some comparisons there. But finally, let's end this. Is The Running Man, 2 questions. Is The Running, and this is a question for you out there, let me know your thoughts. First of all, is it a 1980s classic movie? Now I'm looking at let's look at sci-fi movies, and let's look at particularly this year, 1987. We have RoboCop comes out the same year as this. Now, I would say RoboCop is a 1980s classic. I think it is. Now, looking at this again, is The Running Man a 1980s classic? I gotta be honest, I'm gonna say, I really enjoy this movie, but I don't know whether it is a classic movie. Like, is it like a 10 out of 10? Can you deem this as a classic movie? On the rewatch, I enjoyed it. I still enjoy this movie, but I don't know whether it is a classic 1980s movie, personally. Like, obviously, everyone's subjective to this. Everyone deems a classic, different opinions. But for me, I don't think it is a 1980s classic. I think it's a really good 1980s movie, but it's not a classic. Like a RoboCop is a classic movie. But is it an Arnold classic as well? That's another question. And I think of the best Arnold movies, we have Terminator 2, Predator is another one. I think now, I think Total Recall for me is probably a classic movie. And that's probably the most comparable to this with the sci-fi elements. I suppose Predator's sci-fi as well. But is it on par with a Total Recall, which I think is an Arnold classic? I do think it is an Arnold classic, this one. Running Man, I think it is definitely an Arnold classic. Yeah, I gotta say it. I think of like top Arnold movies, I'm still always going to go to like Total Recall, Running Man. It might not be a 1980s classic for me personally, but for me, yeah, definitely is a Arnold Schwarzenegger classic movie. And overall, I think this is a really fun watch, very entertaining. And yeah, if you've never watched The Running Man, definitely get a copy, get it watched on streaming or buy a copy because it is definitely well worth watching. If you're into your Arnold movies, if you're into action and sci-fi, this is one I highly recommend checking out. So that is it for today's headline topic, ladies and gents. Let's move on with the rest of today's show.
Case covers take on other case covers. Can you handle that?
Case cover collision. Case cover collision.
Case cover collision. Each and every week I choose a different movie and look at all the different case covers that have been released for that movie and put them up against each other to work out which one is the best and which one is the winner of Case Cover Collision. Now on this week on Case Cover Collision I will be looking at the very first Rambo movie, First Blood, Rambo First Blood. Now, first of all, I'm going to say about this movie, I absolutely love this movie. One of my favourite Stallone movies. I think it's excellent. It's definitely my favourite of the Rambo franchise as well. I think it's just, a perfect movie. Perfect overall, great action movie. Absolutely 10 out of 10. French, chef's kiss. Absolutely beautiful. So I've got a few different of the case covers. There is a few that I've missed out because there was a few that honestly, this is one, doing loads of these now, these case cover collisions, and honestly, Rambo, there was actually tons of different releases, tons of different case covers for this movie. And I will say, I was prompted to do this because Keith from Euphoria Pictures did a video this past week, and he was showing a new Zavvi exclusive box set, and I'm going to be looking at that one as well today. So, heads up to check out Keith's channel as well. He's got an excellent video on the new Zavvi exclusive box set. Brilliant video, brilliant channel, Euphoria Pictures. Let's get into it though. Let's look at the very first one. So the first one I'm going to look at is a DVD and Blu-ray case cover, and let's take a look at this one. So this one is basically a very dark cover, and it looks like it's like a black background, big white like army style text of Rambo at the top, and then First Blood on the right hand side underneath. Then you got Sylvester Stallone's name above that in very small text in red in a red color, and then you've got like this sort of like comic book, I probably would say like a comic book sort of like hand drawn image of Rambo, his character, Stallone's character Rambo here, holding a gun in the background. Then you've got like this kind of like a red background, maybe it looks like the forest, but like it's like red, like for the blood, to signify blood. And then you've got like some of the carnage underneath of like the cars of the, obviously the town landscape and stuff like that. So it's a very dark cover. On this, I'll be honest with you, I like the black. I like the black background. I think the text of Rambo is great. Really, really big text, really bold, stands out. But I'm not really keen on this sort of like comic book look to him, like this hand-drawn look. I think they could have used, first of all, I think they could have used a better image, really, to take an image from it. It just looks like, he's just like looking into the distance, and it's just like, I don't know, it doesn't look appealing to me personally as a Rambo image. He doesn't look as jacked as well. Even I think in the movie he looks absolutely jacked. I don't know, there's something about it doesn't look reminiscent of the movie for me so much. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I like the black background. I do like that color, and I like the contrast with the red. I will say that about that. So that's the first one we're going to look at. Let's look at the second one now. So this is a DVD cover, and this one is, again, they've went for like the black background here. So we've got a black background, very different though from what we saw in the first cover. Here we've got Stallone in big text this time, big red text at the top of the screen to know, this is a Stallone movie. And then you got First Blood underneath that at the very bottom, and then you got like an image of Rambo in between that. And there's actually no mention of Rambo on this cover. It's on this DVD cover. It just says First Blood rather than Rambo, which is an interesting one. But I suppose some people just call it First Blood, this movie. You've got Rambo again in a kind of like, I wouldn't say super similar, but I mean probably is a very similar style, where it's kind of like a sort of like a hand painted sort of look of Rambo, like an image rather than an actual photograph. So you've got him, and he's like kind of like it looks more, to me, this looks more like a Stallone Rambo pose though, and this looks more like Rambo in the movie to me personally, rather than the first one. In the background, then you've got like the forest, where we see a lot of like the story take place in the forest, and then you see like it's the sky background in a blue. So you've got like a blue circular colour in the middle going out, and then black colours, and then the text, the font in the red as well. So I will say this one, I'll be honest with you, I do prefer this to the first cover. I think it's a lot better. I think it's a much stronger cover, and I think it's just, the only changes I would do here is maybe put Rambo First Blood rather than just First Blood. But that's just a small critique from me personally as a viewer of the movie. But yeah, I like this one. I think it's cool. Now, let's move on to the third one I'm going to look at today. It is the 4K Ultra HD. This is not the new release. I think this might be the 2018 one or maybe earlier. And this is basically, they've all kind of went for the same look of this sort of like comic book drawn, like comic book drawn's probably the wrong word, like a hand painted look, like a palette for Stallone. So you got Stallone front and center here, like a very close up shot of him. You see at the top half of his body, he's got a gun and a very Stallone Rambo pose here. I do like that. And it's very probably similar to the last one, this one. But then you've got Stallone at the top in a bit smaller text this time, in red text again, like this army style text, like it's like the cage somewhat. Underneath again, it just says First Blood rather than Rambo again. And then you get like this gradient. It goes from like a black at the top of the image going down to this green. And the green is like, I don't know what it's meant to be. Is that meant to be like some sort of like a radar or something? Or is it meant to be the trees of the forest? I'm not quite sure, but I don't know. It just doesn't... It feels a bit of a miss... Like, the green just doesn't fit for me here. I would have went for... If it was red, again, that would make more sense. It's blood. But there's something about the green, it just looks too bright. It looks like a lime green colour. I honestly don't understand why they use a lime green colour. Maybe there's some significance that I'm not picking up on from the movie, but I don't know. It just doesn't, to me, it just doesn't look great. It does, and especially with Rambo, it makes him stand out less because he's kind of like the tonal, the colour palette just like doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. It just looks weird. I'm not fussed on this green. So I will say the second DVD cover is winning it for me so far. That is my favourite so far over the 4K and over the first Blu-ray and DVD cover. But now let's go to, first of all, one of the first Zavvi exclusives. This is just coming out now, and I will say this one is out of stock currently on Zavvi. Sold out. I don't know if they're going to be getting any more or if it's a limited run. But this is the Rambo First Blood Zavvi exclusive limited edition steelbook. Now, this is what I like. I love these steelbooks, and this is nice. It's a very different. We're getting a very different type of image here from what we're seeing previously. So this steelbook is black all over, and you see Rambo's knife, and then you see basically the knife is cut out, so it's just like the silhouette of the knife, but then you see the image of Rambo in a black and red colour within the knife image. So it's very, very minimalist, and I do like these covers sometimes, and I think this is a really well done one. Then to the bottom right of the screen, bottom right of the cover, we have in kind of like very small red text, we have Rambo First Blood in that kind of army style text. Very bold text, but very small, but not small. It's still significant though. You can still see it in the image, and it's very visually, you can see that it's Rambo First Blood. It's noticeable. So that is basically it for this cover, and I like it. I think it looks nice on the shelf. I think it's just simple, but it works. For me, it works with a knife. I think it's really, really subtle. I suppose this could work for like a horror movie as well with a knife. Do you know, if it was like a Halloween movie or something like that, where the actual killer was having a knife or something, you could do it like that. So it could work also for like a horror movie, this sort of style cover. But I like it because he's all about, he has like the knife in the movie and stuff like that. So I do like this. What is winning so far though? Is it this or the DVD cover? I'm still gonna go with the DVD cover. Yeah, I'm going to go with the DVD cover. I do like it. I think it's just something about that DVD cover. I do like this one, the simplicity of it, but I think there's something about that initial DVD cover I like. So let's move on to the next and final choice here of these case covers on Case Cover Collision today. The next one, the final one we have, is the Rambo First Blood 4K Ultra HD Zavvi exclusive Steelbook Slipcase Edition. And this one is still in stock, so if you're interested in this, check it out. So this one is the one Keith mentioned on his channel, Euphoria Pictures, and I had a good look at it on his channel, so I had a better look at it. And this one is very much like an oil painting, and you have all of the characters on the front cover. You have Rambo, you have his like commander, you have the sheriff, and then you have a few of the other police guys, and then it shows like Stallone as Rambo is at the top of the image, and it kind of goes down in smaller images of the other characters. And then you see like Rambo on the bike at the bottom, and then you see like all the town, and then you see obviously the trees in the background and the sky and the helicopter. So it kind of like throws every significant part of the movie in this one image, in this oil painted image. And then you've got at the bottom of the case cover, you have the Rambo text. You have Sylvester Stallone in red text. Very small, but then Rambo is in this big, like this bold text. Not super big, but it's significant enough to see it there. And then First Blood underneath. So I love the fact that they're doing the Rambo First Blood, not just First Blood. I like that because it's a Rambo movie and it is Rambo. So I do like this. I think it is a beautiful. Now, like talking about like the stylized, the sort of like hand drawn look of the other images compared to this. They were like 5 out of 10. This is 10 out of 10. It just looks like they gave like a really good artist time to make an oil painting and a really good oil painting of this cover. I think it's beautiful. I think the contrast of colours is great. You've got like the light colours, the blues at the top, and you're seeing the whole landscape of this town as well here. I like this. So which one is the winner today on Case Cover Collision? Is it this one or the DVD cover, or maybe if any of the other ones change my mind? I'm going to have to go with this one. This final one, I think it is superb. I'll be honest with you. I think it looks a piece of art. It's beautiful. The Rambo First Blood 4K Ultra HD Zavvi exclusive Steelbook Slipcase Edition is my winner for this week on Case Cover Collision. But let me know your thoughts on which one would be your choice of winner. Let me know, ladies and gents. But anyway, let's move on to the next segment of today's show.
The Amazon Top 10 is approaching. Prepare yourself. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The Amazon Top 10 has arrived.
The Amazon Top 10. Each and every week, I look at the best sellers list on Amazon.co.uk for 4Ks, Blu-rays, and DVDs and let you know the list. So let's look at the top 10 this week, ladies and gents. First of all, we have at number 10, Jurassic Park World Dominion. The Blu-ray is at number 10. At number 9, we have House of the Dragon Season 1. Great show. I've still got to catch up with that. At number 8, we have Marvel Studios' Thor: Love and Thunder, the DVD of that. At number 7, we have Minions: The Rise of Gru, the DVD, I believe that is. At number 6, we have Top Gun, the double pack Blu-ray. That's the first and second movie. Number 5, we have Fisherman's Friends 2, One and All. And on number 4, we have Elvis, the Elvis movie on DVD. At number 3, we have Top Gun Maverick, the 4K. And number 2, we have, I must say about the 4K as well, if I've watched films at home the channel with Jeff this past week, and he said it's like one of the best 4Ks he's ever watched. So that might be worth checking out, ladies and gents. Let's see. Number 2, we have Downton Abbey: A New Era. And at number 1, we have Top Gun: Maverick on Blu-ray. That is the Amazon Top 10 for this week, ladies and gents. Let's move on to the final segment of today's show.
What's been on the screen? The screen. What's been on the screen?
What's been on the screen? Every week I discuss what I've been watching over the past week, and I will say this past week I have been catching up with some of the programs. Over the past couple of weeks I've been overrun with programs and I've kind of just got lost. So I've caught up with Andor, the Star Wars show, of the spin-off character from the Rogue One movie, Cassian Andor, and it's now 9 episodes in, so I caught up with about 4 or 5 episodes this past week. So spoilers if you've not watched the recent episode. Spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I just want to really talk about this show overall. I must say, this is the most surprisingly pleasing show I've watched from Star Wars. I didn't really think like this would work with Cassian Andor, because I didn't really think he was he was an okay character, but I didn't think there'd be a show for him. And this is obviously a prequel show, but it is absolutely amazing. I'm loving it. I'm loving the vibe that it's now. It's like this sort of like, it's not a spy show, but it's like sort of like showing the underworld and the start of the rebels, and now it's kind of went into feels like it's going into like a great escape, like with her in this prison cell now, and they're trying to escape this, and you've got Andy Serkis's character in there. That is another like bizarre movie that threw me off. I couldn't believe it. I remember reading something online saying Snoke had returned, and I was like, Snoke, how are they going to do that? And then obviously I must have misread it, and it was obviously just Andy Serkis is returning, but he's playing a completely different character. Well, that's to our knowledge at this moment in time. Who knows? There may be some sort of some weird happenings going on, but I think it is a separate character from Snoke. I thought it was really I wonder what people's opinions of that are. Are people angry that he's playing a different character? Because I honestly don't mind, because obviously it was CGI and stuff in the movies, and he was a very different voice. And he sounds more like Andy Serkis as Alfred in the Batman movie. Like that Cockney voice, really hardened Cockney voice in this. But yeah, I really like this show. I think it's great. What I love as well is seeing, this is like the most un-Star Wars show. It's like the realism of it. It's like the swearing in it, they're using like real swear words. There was an episode, I think it was either the last one, I think it was the last episode, where the guy, it was the guy who was in A Vida Saying Bet, if you ever seen that show, and he played the Scouse character, the Scouser in that, called Moxie. And I think he's been in loads, this guy, the actor, I don't know the actor's name, but he has a stroke and he dies. And I have never heard them use the word, they have like a medic there, and he's like, and they're like asking him like, how's he doing? And he's like, he's had a stroke. And I've never heard them like speak of like illnesses like that in Star Wars, and the realism of like them using swear words. It just feels they have like, and there was a bit where he was eating cereal, one of the guys, and then there was a scene where they had like reporters, like it showing like a news report. And I'm like, this doesn't feel like Star Wars, but it kind of just, it works. It really works for me. And that realism aspect, I've really enjoyed, because it's so different to what they've done before, and it's hard to believe it's set in the same world as like the likes of Mandalorian, because it feels very different. And I think it's great because they're showing, I hear some people saying to me that, they want to see fresh characters. And kind of like, this is not a fresh character because he was in the movies, but it feels like a fresh character because it's kind of like doing all his origin story that we didn't know anything about. But I think they're showing a new coat of paint to Star Wars with this more like realism, and like showing them like different workers on the jobs, and like the different people within a galaxy far, far away. Just not showing, it's not just like Jedis and Siths. There's like real workers and there's real people living in this world, and they've kind of shown that more in this show, and I really like that. And I think it's a really well done show. I think it's a slow start to this show, but I think once you get into it, it is a solid run. So we got 12 episodes in this show in total, so we got a few more to go. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. I'm just really enjoying this show. I think it's a really good one. And again, I've really enjoyed all the Star Wars shows. I've been watching the Rebels show over the past couple of weeks, catching up on that because I've never really got into that one. And that's really a good one as well. But Cassian Andor, the Andor show, is a great one. If you're sitting on this and you're a bit unsure, definitely give it a chance. And, give it a little bit of time to breathe as well. It is a slow start, but it really does get into it and you really can enjoy this show. I think it's a great one. I think it is more for hardcore Star Wars fans. I think if you're just a general watcher, maybe it's not a show for mass audiences, this. I think, let me know what your thoughts on that. Is this a Star Wars hardcore show, or can a general audience get into this one? I think it's more for like the Star Wars hardcore, personally, this show. But it's a great show to watch all the same. But that's what's been on the screen for this week, and that's it for another edition of the Movie Cheer podcast. If you enjoyed this show today and you're watching on YouTube, please do give it a like and check out the rest of the movie-related content on the channel, and drop a comment in the comments below as well, ladies and gents. If you were listening to this on a podcast app of your choosing, please do subscribe to the app and subscribe to the podcast, and leave a 5-star review. All reviews will be read out on the show, ladies and gents. And if I've not read it out yet, please drop me an email with, a link to it or a screenshot of it on Twitter. I will definitely read out if I've not seen it already. But it's been another great show today, discussing The Running Man, a movie I really enjoy. And let me know your thoughts on all of today's movie topics, ladies and gents. Are you a fan of The Running Man? What do you think of it? Is it an 80s classic, or is it an Arnold classic? Even a more important question. Let me know all your thoughts, ladies and gents. Thank you very much for watching all. I very much appreciate you joining me for another edition of the show. Remember to spread a bit of movie cheer, and as always, I will see you next time.